The Gates Foundation announcing it's teaming up with OpenAI to use its models in Africa to expand access to health care. Earlier, I spoke with Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates and started out by asking him how this partnership came about.
There's a great ongoing conversation with Sam and the whole team at OpenAI about the way they want to improve the world and how their AI can be used even in poor countries for issues like health and education. And so we decided, to provide all the computer time and to support a pilot in 1,000 health clinics in Africa, starting with Rwanda.
So what does it actually look like in practice?
Well, you as a patient will talk in your native language to the AI about your symptoms. You'll schedule your appointment through the AI. When you come in, instead of doing paperwork, the doctor or the clinician, usually it's not a doctor, will see that summary. They won't have to fill out paperwork like they've had in the past. So the idea is to make the quality of that encounter far higher, the waiting far shorter, and to take the very constrained resources that these countries have and have far better health care.
And how did you decide? I know Microsoft has a partnership, of course, with OpenAI, but how did you decide to do it with OpenAI as opposed to, we just talked to Demis from DeepMinds or Anthropic or one of the other models?
Yeah, so you'll see the Gates Foundation working with Anthropic and Google and Microsoft and OpenAI. We have major things that we'll do with each of them. OpenAI jumped up and was super generous on this. Of course, they have a foundation that owns a significant amount of their company.
Right.
The value in that foundation actually rivals the world's biggest foundation, the Gates Foundation. And so they'll often, in terms of their capacity to donate, be a great partner.
By the way, what do you think of that? The fact that OpenAI will ultimately, given the ownership structure, be perhaps the largest foundation in the world?
It'll depend on how much the value goes up over time. But I think that's incredible. I wish, 25% of lots of great companies was going to go to the poorest in the world. Essentially, my ownership of Microsoft indirectly has done exactly that.
Right. But you've been one person, and in some cases two people or more. You have a board, obviously. This is going to be, what they are going to do is going to be very different in terms of how it's governed, I imagine.
Yeah, they're hiring people in. They have a top-notch board that's encouraging them to put more activities into this philanthropic side. And, but I'd also say Google, Anthropic, Microsoft, they really want to see AI used for these societal purposes. And so we'll pick the best partner in different areas, but the quality of the work at all those companies is phenomenal.
We've been talking about OpenAI and the foundation. Elon Musk is suing OpenAI over the sort of structure of the company and whether it can even go public and whether it can have this effective foundation longer term. And it has a huge impact long term on Microsoft too, depending on how it all works out. What do you think is going to happen?
I doubt that will be successful. That's, a little bit sour grapes on his part. I mean, after all, you have people, not just Microsoft, but lots of people investing many tens of billions into the company and feeling like, okay, this new structure is going to work well. They've renewed their board. I'm very impressed. They've gotten through a lot of challenges and, they've got to raise the money, and so their new approach has provided the confidence that they'll succeed.
But this is I think it's going to trial.
Yeah, I mean, look, the number of lawsuits that are out there is very high, but I'd predict that OpenAI will continue to do well.
One of the things that we've talked about a lot before is jobs and AI and just what's going to happen. And you've talked about the idea that over time, you plan to cut staff in part because of AI, I imagine, in terms of the foundation?
Yeah, well...
What does that look like?
For the foundation, we want to be as efficient as possible. Remember, trying to make sure that between restoring the generosity there and the innovation, that we get back on track for the incredible reduction that we've had since 2000.